Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Valerie and I'm going to teach you how to crochet this sweater. It's for a 7-month-old baby. They're twins, so I've already made this one and I've already worked the front panel, one panel for the other sweater. So I'm going to work with you the other panel and then the sleeves and then the neck. I'm working with this yarn. So the first sweater took me 1.5, and the one that I'm going to work on, I believe it will take me 1.5. It's 200 grams. You can see the name, the brand. It's on this paper, this wrap paper. So you'll need to have a pair of scissors, a crocheting hook. In my case, I'm using 3.0 millimeter hook. It's recommended for this yarn. And then you'll also need a tape measure. The other things like stitch markers, darning needle, yeah, you'll need them too. Whenever we are crocheting anything, we start by making a slip knot. So I'm going to make a slip knot, then make a foundation chain of 53. This is for a 7-month-old baby. They can wear it up to 1 year. So the length for my case, it should give me 12 or 11 inches. That's the length. So I'm going to chain 53. So this is a chain of 53. I'll just go ahead and take measurements to see how many inches it measures. Remember, I need 12 inches. So these are about 15. So when you crochet, it will shrink to 12 or 11.5. For our first row, we're going to work 8 slip stitches for the hem, and then we will work yarn over slip stitch for the body. Okay, so we're just going to start with 8 slip stitches. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you can mark your last slip stitch with a stitch marker if you won't remember it. And then for the body, you're going to work a yarn over slip stitch. So for yarn over slip stitch, you just yarn over and then you pull the yarn, then you pull through the 2 loops on the hook. Yeah, yarn over, insert your hook, pull the other yarn, then pull through the 2 loops on the hook. So you don't yarn over after pulling the other yarn. Okay, but you're free to use any stitch that you want, any stitch that will be favorable to you. You can use any that you want. So this is it for the first row. So just go ahead and complete to this point and I'll meet you there. Let's finish row 1. So I'm remaining with one stitch, one stitch, or just chain one and turn back. You chain one, then turn. So from row 2 to row last, we're going to be working in back loops, except for the first stitch. First stitch, we work in 2 loops to create that flat finishing on the border. Okay, on this, I don't know if I should call it the border or the shoulders. Yeah. So from there, you work in back loops only. So the pattern is still the same. You never slip stitch. Then when you get to the hem, you slip stitch. Just slip stitch, okay? The pattern is the same. Yarn over slip stitch for the body and then slip stitch for the hem. So go ahead and work all through the body, and then I'll meet you here to work with you the hem, okay? I'm right here. So we are going to work slip stitches, 8 slip stitches in back loops again, okay? In back loops only. When you get to the end of the row, you chain one and then turn. So again, you work slip stitches in back loops for the hem, and then you continue with yarn over slip stitch for the body, okay? Go ahead and finish up this row. I'll meet you at the end of it. I'm here again at the end of the row. So remember, in the last stitch we said we work in 2 loops for the body. It's entirely optional. I only choose to work in 2 loops because it gives me clean work on the surfaces. It gives clean work, okay? Otherwise the pattern is the same. You work yarn over slip stitch for the body and then slip stitches for the hem, okay? Up to this point, I believe you know what you're doing and you can work through this pattern since it's so simple and easy. So just work through this row and I'll meet you at the end of it to show you what's next, okay? I'm here at the end of the row again to show you for the last time how to work slip stitches in back loops, okay? They're very easy and very easy, okay? They're not as complicated. So just work this next row. You chain one, then turn your work this row. Then when you turn, I'm going to show you how to make a reduction, because I want my hem to be smaller. I don't want the sweater to be so big at the waist. Okay, let me just show you how I want my hem to look like. I want it to be this small, because it's for, okay, normally even my sweaters, I make reductions on the hem to make it a bit smaller, you know, unless it's for a man. Men normally want straight sweaters, but for lady sweaters or baby sweaters, I make reductions on the hem. So to make a reduction, what happens is you normally work the body and then you leave the hem unworked, okay, but only for one row. Anyway, I'm going to show you here. So you just work the body. Let me just complete working the body, and then I'll turn. Yeah, so you leave the hem unworked, then you turn, you work through the body again, but you don't chain one. Okay, no chaining one, you just turn and then you work through the body. And remember, you work in two loops for the body. Whenever you're working on the body, the last stitch you work in two loops. Okay, so you work in two loops and then you continue in back loops only. Work this row to the end and then turn. I'll meet you right back here to show you how to complete the row with the reduction part. Okay, I'm right back. So here you just have to make sure that you work in all the stitches. The last stitch normally is most likely to be missed since it's too tiny, but you just have to make sure you work in it. You see how tiny it is? You just have to make sure your hook passes through it. Okay, it's tiny because there's no chaining one when working it, when turning on a reduction stitch. Okay, so you just complete as normally with the slip stitches in the 8 stitches that we left. Okay, up to this point everything is simple since it's all familiar now. You just complete the row, you chain one and then you turn. Up to this point your work should be looking like mine. Okay, yeah, that is if you're working with the exact pattern and if you made the reduction as I did. So just turn your work and then you continue as we've been doing. The reduction part, you have to decide how many rows you'll be working before you do a reduction. That is if you'll be doing the reduction. Okay, up to this point I feel like I should leave you to go ahead and work one shoulder, and then when I come back we will do the neck part and then we do the other shoulder. Okay, so my shoulder, one part of my shoulder was about 4.8 inches, close to 5 inches. So I'll just take the measurements to make sure I'm right. Yeah, it's 4.8 something. Yeah, there, right there. I'm going to work the remaining part offline. Then when I come back, I'll show you how to work the neck part. And then we work the other shoulder. One shoulder down. So I'll just go ahead and measure to see how many inches it is. It's about 4.8, around there. Okay, I'm really sorry about my camera placement. I feel like I placed it too far, but just bear with me, okay? Next time I'll do better. So for the neck part, you'll have to leave 3 stitches unworked, okay? You just work all through, then you leave 3 stitches for the neck part. 1 2 3, yeah, 3 stitches, or you can leave 4, I mean, yeah, 3 or 4. Then you chain 1, then turn, then you continue as usual, same pattern, same everything, okay? My neckline is around 5 inches, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and work it off camera, since everything is the same. Everything is what we've been doing. There is nothing new here. The only thing that is new is this part that we're working, but it's still, you can just work it. It's not so hard, it's very simple. So just go ahead and work it, and when I come back, I'll have my neck part done, or my chest part done, and then we'll do the other shoulder, okay? Right back, let's just check the measurements to see how many inches it measures. So it's 5, yeah, 5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and make a chain of 3, the 3 stitches that we left, since you're working the other shoulder, okay? So you make a chain of 3, 2 3, and then you chain 1 again, okay? You chain 1, so those are 4 chains. Yeah, the chain 1 is a turning chain. Again, I'm really sorry about my camera placement, okay? So after chaining 4, you turn, and then you work yarn over slip stitch from your next stitch, I mean in the second stitch from the hook, okay? From here, everything is the same. It's just what we've been doing from start, okay? So you just continue working through until you have the same measurements as your first shoulder part, okay? The 4.8 something, if you're working the same as me. I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this part. I'll complete mine off camera, and then when I come back, we'll have to join them together. Then we work the sleeves and then the neck, okay? Yeah, see you. It's finally complete. So there is something that I normally do with the sleeves for my sweater not to look like a box, you know. I normally work 1 row from the hem to this part, the underarm part. Just work 1 row from the hem to the part where you want your sleeve to begin from. So this is entirely optional. You can just do it to make your sweater look pretty. You see how it doesn't look like a box, you know? At least the sleeve is coming from inside. Yeah, that's just what I'm trying to say. Again, it's entirely optional, so I'm just going to go ahead and work and take the measurements for the sleeve, for the armhole where I want my sleeve to start from, and then I'll work 1 row downwards, okay? In case you want to do the same, you can just take the measurements for your armhole, and then you mark, then you work 1 row from the hem to the point where you marked, okay? So for my case, this is how it looks like, okay? My armhole is 4 inches. It's for a baby, so it's 4 inches. So just go ahead and cut my yarn, chain 1, then cut the yarn and pull through it all, and then I'll work the other side, okay? So for the other side, you can just count the stitches for the armhole for you to be accurate. I normally count my stitches just to be accurate with the size. I'll just count. There are around 16. yeah, 16 stitches. So I'll just count and then place my hook in the 17th, and then I attach my yarn and work towards the hem. Okay, you just attach the yarn, then I make a slip knot, and then I chain one, and then I work towards the hem, just as we've been doing. It's all the same. Okay, so right here I'll just pull a yarn that is long enough to attach the two panels together, one side. So you'll just place your first panel with the wrong side facing down, and then the right side facing up, and then you place the other panel on top of it with the right side facing down. In short, what I mean is the right sides should face each other and the wrong sides should be outside. Okay, since we are joining from the wrong side. Yeah. Okay, so there's so many ways of joining two panels together. If you're using my way, this is what you're going to do. Okay, yeah. So you're going to pass your darning needle through your back loop and the front loop of the other panel. Okay, so it's back loop and the front loop of the other panel. So it's just back loop and then the front loop, back loop and then the front loop. Then you just have to pull to make sure that is tight enough, not too tight, but it's tight. Okay, so this is how your work should look like when you join from the wrong side. This is how the right side looks like. So just go ahead and join the other side, and then when I come back we will join the shoulders, and then we do the sleeves, then the neck. For the shoulders, we are going to join again from the wrong side. So you just insert your darning needle in the available space that you can see. Okay, I would advise you work on top of the ridge, in between, on top, in between, on top, in between. Okay, Go ahead and work the other part, and then when I come back we will do the sleeves. Okay, after joining the other shoulders, we just turn your work now right side out, and then we now work the sleeves. The sleeves you are going to work from the right side. Okay, we're going to work from the body, that is, I always work my sleeves from the body. So I've already worked my first sleeve. Let's work this one with you. So as I said, I work my sleeves from the body. So you pass your hook through the seam, and then hold the working yarn. You pull your working yarn through the seam, and then you chain one, and then you hold the tail, you pull it to secure your working yarn. So you make a long chain of your size. For my case, I made a chain of 27. Yeah, 27. So after working the chains that you need, the pattern is still the same as the one we've been using on the body. So you just work slip stitches for the cuff. So you're going to work 6 slip stitches for the cuff, and then we continue with the same pattern with a yarn over slip stitch on the sleeve now. Okay, so those are 6 slip stitches. I'll go ahead and work the sleeve now. I'm almost at the end of the row, so I'm going to mark my last stitch. This stitch, I'm going to mark it with a stitch marker before touching my sleeve on the body. So this stitch that I'm marking will work as my first working stitch when I turn my work. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and now attach the sleeve to the body. So you just find the next stitch on the body, you pull the yarn, and then you find again another stitch, yeah, and then you pull the yarn. So those 2 stitches do not count as your working stitch. The one that you put a stitch marker in is the one that counts as your first stitch. So you can just work in while the stitch marker is still in, just to be safe, and then you remove the stitch marker and then continue with the same pattern. Okay, I forgot to mention we are still working in back loops, so the pattern is still the same, back loops. Okay, So we're going to be working reductions on the sleeve. We want our cuff to be very small to fit that hand of a baby, okay? Yeah, this small. So you're just going to be working one row complete, and then you make a reduction, one row complete, and then you make a reduction. So for this case, I'm just going to turn and then continue with the same pattern. I'm almost at the end of the row. Again, remember to mark your last stitch before you join the sleeve on the body, okay? So just mark your last stitch, then you join in the 2 stitches on the border. 1, 2, then you turn, work in the stitch with the stitch marker, and then you remove the stitch marker, then you continue just as we did with the first row, okay? The first and the second row. Almost again at the end of the row. So you remember how we were completing the row with the reduction part, so you just make sure you work in the last stitch. You see how tiny it is, how almost invisible it is. You make sure you work in it before you work the curve, okay? So you just work the curve first normally. So at the end of the row you chain 1 and then you turn. So for the last time, I'm going to show you how to join your sleeve on the body. Yeah? You just mark your last stitch and you join in 2 stitches on the border, and then you turn, and then your first stitch is the one that you marked, okay? Then you continue with the same pattern. So this row that we're working, we are going to make a reduction. So remember, it's 1 complete, 1 reduction, 1 complete, 1 reduction. That's how it's going to be for the cuff to be fit for the baby, or to be small. Up to this point, I'm going to leave you to go ahead and complete the rest of the sleeve. So just remember, one complete, one incomplete, okay? So just go ahead and complete it. When I come back, we will be joining together so that we can work the neck. So my sleeve is complete. As you can see, I'll just go ahead and join it together. Again, we are going to join from the wrong side. Yeah, so we'll just turn it inside out and then we join it together, okay? Just like I'm doing. So the joining is still the same as the one we did with the body. So just go ahead and join it together. Just remember, it's the back loop and then the front loop on the other side. So go ahead and join it together. I'll meet you when I'm done with mine so that we can work the neck, okay? Done, and this is how it looks. Yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and work the neck. With the neck, we're going to be working with slip stitches, just like we did with the ribbing on the hem and the cuffs, just slip stitches, okay? So again, your hook passes through the seam and then you pull your working yarn, you chain one, make sure you hold the hanging yarn, yeah. Then you make a chain of 5. Then we are going to work slip stitches in each stitch and then attach it on the body again. So you just attach it just like you are attaching the sleeve twice. So you find the next stitch again, then you attach. And then you turn. You work in back loops only. Just make sure you count 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then attach. Turn again. Count 4, okay? 1, or the one you're working with, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, and then turn. So with this part with no defined stitches, you're just going to be working on top and then in between those ribbings, the ridges, okay? So on top and then in between, then turn. Chain 1 and then turn. So that's the pattern for the neck. You just have to know how many stitches you're working with and how to join them on the body, okay? So remember, there are no defined stitches around the neckline, so just make sure you're not joining in the same place, at the same place, or in the same place, or you're joining too far. Yeah, not too close, not too far, just on top and in between. You can see there are ridges, those, okay, those ribbons form something like ridges, so it's just on top, then in between, on top, then in between. I'll just leave you to go ahead and complete the remaining part. I'll come back and join with you, and that will be it for today. I hope you enjoyed making it. So up right here, we are going to join this together. We're going to join from the right side. There's no need to turn it inside out, but if you want, you can do the same. You can turn it inside out, but I'm just going to join from the outside. Okay, I want to have twins. These are so pretty. I mean, they're super warm, they're super pretty. I hope you enjoyed making yours, and please tag me when you recreate yours, and subscribe to my channel if you've not subscribed. I promise you I'll be doing more tutorials this time round, this time for real. Bye, see you in the next tutorial.